It is time now to know what's on the front pages of the newspapers. And chartered accountant as well as public affairs analyst Sesan Okunade is in the studio. CEO of CKN News, Kehinde Nwandu is also here. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
Congratulations on your birthday.
And let me crown it by saying thank God it's Friday.
Friday.
It's time to relax.
It's
washable.
It's washable.
It's washable.
It's washable.
No big cloth now.
Yeah, we'll go watch it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, let's head straight to the papers now. And I begin with this Nigerian newspaper. Lagos Assembly passes anti-grazing and V.A.T bills. Lagos Assembly passes anti-grazing and V.A.T bills. You find details of the story on the pages of this Nigeria newspaper. To the Vanguard newspaper now, tax war worsens as 36 states sue federal government over stamp duty. Want 176 billion naira stamp duty revenue refund from federal government. Corporate executives express misgivings over stamp duty war. More knocks come on V.A.T controversies. Federal government should stop impeding through federalism, Afeni Ferry. All right, you find details of the story on the pages of the Vanguard newspaper. To the Daily Sun now, federal government states in fresh legal battle over revenue, stamp duty revenue in contention. And to the Guardian newspaper, amid V.A.T uproar, states sue federal government over sharing of stamp duties. Surprise trails speedy passage of Lagos V.A.T open grazing bills. Wike started a revolution. Restructuring has begun, says Adigboruwa. Oyo still studying V.A.T verdict, rather. All right, you find details of the story on the pages of the Guardian newspaper. To the Punch newspaper now, V.A.T amendments, NBA sans caution, National Assembly fought FIRS planned revenue court. All right, you find details of the story on the pages of the Punch newspaper. To the Nigerian Tribune, as Lagos Assembly passes V.A.T anti-open grazing bills, Afeni Ferry San backs states over V.A.T battle with FIRS. Right, and there are highlights of the anti-open grazing bills. Details of it on the front page here. You might want to look at that. To the Nation newspaper now, Buhari, I'll stabilize security economy before leaving. Igbo can't secede from Nigeria, say President Ohaneze. All right, you find the details on the pages of the Nation newspaper. To the First News newspaper, Buhari in Imo says security is my priority. Details on the pages of First News newspaper. To the Daily Times, how I want to be remembered by Buhari. How I want to be remembered by Buhari. Details there on the pages of the Daily Times. To the Blueprints now, why Igbo must not leave Nigeria. Buhari speaking there. To the Daily Trust, suicide on the rise as Nigeria records 51 cases in 12 months. Poverty, drugs, marital instability, insurgency responsible. Doctors are speaking. Government, employers, landlords, families must act fast. And to the Nigerian news, direct assets of banks hit 53.64 trillion naira, as the CBN speaking. To the Business Day, how NNPC manicured its books to extract 287 billion naira profit. You find that on the pages of the Business Day. And to the national economy, investable space in Nigeria, others shrinking due to insecurity. Additional investable space in Nigeria, others shrinking due to insecurity. Additional. And finally, on the page of the Leadership newspaper, at Leadership Conference and Awards, Oshibaju Sultan others proffer solutions to security challenges. You find details of the story on the front page of the Leadership newspaper. All right, let's begin with this story that has been generating divergent reactions, talking about the value-added tax battle between the federal FIRS and states. And we saw that Lagos State Assembly passed the V.A.T and anti-open grazing bills. And it seems they are inching closer. Like some have said that Governor Wike of Rivers State started a revolution. Others have said that states are beginning to take their destinies into their hands. And I'm wondering, let me begin with you, CKN, what you make of this development.
Fantastic. Nice one. Over the years, some of us have said that the way Nigeria is currently structured cannot work, and is not working. And because the way things are going, there's so much power that is situated within the federal government, and to the disadvantage of the other states. We have 36 states and the federal and the FCT.
Yeah.
And at the end of it all, where you share revenue, the federal government gets about 51, close to about 52% or thereabout. While the other states, we are 36 states and the federal capital territory, as well as the recognized 774, is it 773 now because 74. Of Bakassi? No, Bakassi.
Okay.
We used to say, sorry, there's this debate now, whether it's 74 because of Bakassi. But how to now grab in with the little that is left over. And that is why things are not working. And we've said it that it is so obvious that even the National Assembly that we laid our hopes on issues like this have been compromised and cannot do anything. So it is good that the states are now waking up to their responsibilities, are now taking the battle, taking their own destiny in their own hands. And this is where I have to commend someone like Governor Enso Wike. He has done a marvelous job. This is a man that is not afraid of fights. He's ready. It's not about opposition or non-opposition now. It's the survival and it's the constitution that is at stake. From what he was able to see that loopholes and went for it and got a judgment from a court in
the FIRS.
The FIRS, yes, they tried an interlocutory injunction to try to stop the bet. They struck it out. Now Lagos State has also said, oh, what you are talking is right. Then, because if you look at what Governor Wike said 2 days ago, on what they get from VAT, when compared to
over 15 billion.
Yes, and at the end of it, what did they get? What did they get? A refund. Whereas a state like Kano, as he said, gets an average of about 2.8 billion. That's what they get from VAT. And that is what the government gives them back. Whereas the bulk of the VAT comes from Lagos, Rivers, and some of these states. I also look at it from the point that some of these states are not also, they have some people law, I will use that, people law, especially when it comes to issue of alcohol and the rest of them. You see alcohol is going into some part of the north. You see this Hisba and the rest of them destroying millions and millions of bottles of beers and the rest of them. But at the end of it, Lagos collect VAT from alcohol. Then you share from it again. That is hypocrisy. So what Governor Wike is doing is the right, and every state, and I'm sure that every state is there, then they're working on with that. See what is happening with also with the stamp duty now.
Yeah.
The states now have everybody's now saying, oh, stamp duty also. That's not supposed to be
it. Yeah.
So those are so it is high time that our governors rise up to the responsibilities. But I will just tell you for free.
Right.
Let me just put in this quickly. I had a challenge about a few days ago. I decided as a person to go through Lagos, the Abuja. I came by road from Abuja to Lagos. That is a big risk. But as a coordinator of the Celebrity Special Marshal of the FRC of Nigeria, once in a while, that is a part of my responsibility. I want to look at the state of the road and see where interventions, where I said, it is complete death trap, and I don't know what the Federal Ministry of Work is doing. Vero, I couldn't make it to Lagos. I had to sleep in Ibadan. That is how bad the state of our road is. And I'm continuing wondering, all the taxes, all the VAT, all the allocations given to the Federal Ministry of Work.
But the minister says he's been working on some roads.
I went there to see, I don't need to be told.
Right.
Even the Sukuk intervention that was made, you will see that whatever intervention on the road between Abuja and Lokoja is not passable again. You just see a large church of the people, you see trailers facing themselves, you see trailers facing one way, most often than then you go to Yamoye, Kaba, all the roads are totally bad. So what are we talking about? So this state should carry this burden on themselves and make sure that they intervene wherever they see the National Assembly has failed us, then they have to take the responsibility into their hands.
Right. Let's come to you, Sesan. What you make of this development, as much as it is states taking, their destinies in their hands, there are those who are wondering if the states have the capacity, to collect this judiciously or effectively collect these monies as we have seen the FIRS done over the years?
Yeah, let me first say that before we give response to that, and so whether they have the capability or the capacity to do that, is are we establishing and agreeing together that the fight by Wike is confirmed? Because that is the beginning of true fiscal federalism.
All right.
And I want to take you way back. You see, people can give credence and, kudos to Lagos State of having the highest IGR. I look at a particular report from the NBS on the FAC and the IGR by each state. And you discover that that report shows that without the FAC, Lagos State will succeed. So over 400 and the Federal Allocation Account Committee. So you discover that Lagos have over 418 billion to its credit as against what was given to him from the federal government. And where did we start? Where did this start from? It started when Obasanjo dealt with Lagos State and refused to disburse some of the funds that were meant for
Lagos. Yeah.
And what did they do? They think outside the box, looked for a way to get their IGR, and that thing that was established by Asiwaju then is what is paying off for Lagos today. And that's why we've said all the people that are advocating that, no, let's leave it for federal government and allow some of these states to be having free funds every now and then, it's going to increase more laziness on the part of some of these leaders.
There are those who are asking that you should be your brother's keeper, like Gombe State is saying you guys should
very wonderful. Before I become my brother's keeper, I must be self-sustaining. Before I can take care of you, I am dying. Even my Yoruba adage will say, when fire is burning you and is burning even your child I give birth to, you first take care of yourself before you come. So I want to be my brother's keeper. Very wonderful. But I must be self-sustaining to the extent that I'm taking care of myself, taking care of my children, then I will consider my brother. If my children have nothing to eat, I will not take that thing and say, because this is my brother, I will give. It takes us to the level to say each state should start thinking outside the box. And if you go to the question of having the capacity whether to collect, I want to state, because this is also my field, that the state need to put so many things in place. If you observe the FIRS, it took them over 28 years before they could get it right. But we need to start with a journey of so many kilometers. You start with a step. Let's affirm that this is what we are going to do, and it is the revenue must be disbursed to each state. I want to provide this solution personal to say, fine, if FIRS have the wherewithal to collect this, they've used some of the revenue that they got from the V.A.T to develop a template that will make things work. Can we give a timeline for the states to see how they can implement this, and FIRS assists to collect and disburse 100% back to each state, so that each person will know that I have a timeline of saying that some of the revenue I'm going to get from the V.A.T 100% from FIRS, because they've had the position together, I'm going to use it to develop my the IT infrastructure to make sure that I have this in its item. This is what we are saying is the right step in the right direction to make sure that we hold our leaders. The states are closer to us. Look at the federalism that is being practiced in the US. You would think that New York is a country on its own for people that have not been there, but it's a state. You discuss same thing, Texas. All those states are state, but for an average person that have not been there, when they hear of New York is like a country because they are big. Look at the electoral process. You rely solely on the state because the state people are very closer to the people that they govern. So this is a right step in the right direction. We know that as we speak, the state does not have the capacity to collect this, but we can have a timeline. But first agree that even if FIRS is going to do this, then we must go in the line of saying, help us to collect, because we have used our resources to develop a template of collection. Help us collect, give us a timeline. In the next 2 years, we will take sole responsibility of collecting some of these things up ourselves.
With due respect to Sesan is a chartered accountant. I'm a journalist. He's his people, but I totally disagree with him.
Right.
Yes.
Why?
FRS should not be allowed to collect for states.
But when you don't have the capacity to collect, how do you do?
Who told they don't have the capacity?
No,
Lagos State have LRS. Do you know what Lagos State have been doing in the past? It seems you don't know what LRS is doing.
But not just about Lagos.
States. Let's start. So let's be factual with this. The fact is that the federal government cannot be trusted. The state, if the federal government can be trusted, why would the state be going to the Supreme Court on issue of stamp duties? It's because they cannot trust the federal, even the one that NNPC collects. Do they disburse? Having to be seeing the fight between, having to be seeing the fight between the various commissioners of finances of the state, where they go to Abuja and they say, okay, no, we are not going to share, this is wrong, and the rest of them. Right. The federal government, whether template or no template, let Rivers start. Let Rivers will come, Rivers doesn't have the template, they come to Lagos and let. LRS have been collecting taxes and be making. You are talking of the revenues being generated by IGR being generated by Lagos. Who do you think have been collecting? Is LRS?
That so I know, but you said it's my field. The template for VAT is not. See, even the PIT that is being collected by the state is not maximally being done.
Let them start.
The fact, that's why I said give a timeline. You see, the intrigue in VAT
is it the same FRS that wants to go to is going to the National Assembly that they should stop this? Is it the same FRS that want to set up?
No, it's for you to come on a common ground and say this is what and how we will share it. You see, the VAT is not like the PIT that we talk. The intrigue of it is beyond what we can see on the physical. That's I'm telling you, you are a journalist.
Yes.
I'm a chartered accountant.
Yes.
And I'm living out
in my place.
Please let it be.
In my village, they're saying that you know the meaning? Once you kill a snake, remove the head.
Right.
If you don't remove the head, there's a tendency that if you step on that snake and it's not there, you'll be poisoned. The fact is that let the states, the way they have started, let them continue staggering what they are getting.
Perhaps why he's saying this, CKN, is because of the fact that the state, the people of the state, will hold the government accountable for every money is collected. Isn't that why?
Yeah.
Because and so they should ensure judicious use of every money is collected.
That is a different ball game. I'm not talking of judicious use. Now I'm talking of
once you collect, because people will believe that you've collected much more.
Much more.
It will even bring a lot of accountability. Now I can hold you responsibility in my state.
When you are not effective in collecting, why would you have
that? Yes.
The reason why I said we can give it, you see, it's very clear. This thing should be collected by FRS for a specific timeline of saying that 100% remittance of what we collect from you will be disbursed back. Why you develop you see, when you talk of VAT, we have input VAT, output VAT. There are a lot of intrigues that is associated with VAT compared to PIT or other stamp duty that we're talking of. And before you put those money, see, if it takes 28 years for FIRS to get themselves together on the collection of VAT. You know, we are talking of import duty, talking of so many things. It's different from PIT. And that's why I don't want us to say, let's rush to things. It will not look as if, okay, Lagos State has increased its revenue from, let's say, IGR of 418 billion to about 700 with additional 200 something on VAT. Meanwhile, they should collect more than that because the machinery for collection is not well established. We understand those facts, and that's why we are appealing. Let's have a timeline. First, establish that this is for the state. Collect it on, just like a remitter will assist the government to make some things and disburse back to them. It is just going to be a channel after now to make sure that what is accruable to me as a state, I am getting 100%, and some of the, just give us a timeline of a specific years, 2 years, we will definitely collect this thing ourselves and disburse and
let me just Sesan, yes, I agree with you. I give it to you. It's your profession, whatever. I talked as a journalist. But okay, let me now talk as a student of law.
Okay.
I have to tell you that before you have such an agreement, the law has to be amended. There must be. It is not just a one-way thing. It's a factor of, it's a function of law. If the state are going to agree, what I want and what I want to see, I want this to be challenged to the Supreme Court.
Right.
So
that is what we should be talking about.
We have something
good, not a question of lawyer. Know that it will be. I'm telling you, the fact is that let us challenge. Let's take this as far as the Supreme Court. Let the Supreme Court make a pronouncement and say, yes, states, you have the right to collect this VAT, because as it is now, there's not been. FRS is appealing. Probably go to the Court of Appeal. Then from there we move to the Supreme Court. Let there be a pronouncement. After we made that pronouncement, then we cannot, the state cannot sit down with FRS the way you are talking. Let us structure 2 years, 3 years. But as it is now, let the status quo remain. If the court have said that, collect your this thing, let Rivers be collecting. Let Lagos be collecting. Let my state Imo, let us be collecting. Until we now get to a point where all of us will now agree that
independent, okay.
But I'm sure you understand what I'm saying.
I know where you're headed.
Once you start with that, you may not be able to go back and say the same thing.
I'm talking as a student of law.
Anyway, there were reports yesterday on the paper saying that about 30 states will go bankrupt.
Yeah.
As a result of this. And you know, the guests we had were saying perhaps some states will have to look at merging, and others who perhaps have seen themselves as being self-sufficient might want to break away, maybe because they have enough to say, okay, this region within us can handle themselves and all of it. And I wonder...
No. That is, whoever's giving that analogy is wrong. Well, there's no state in Nigeria that is not self-sustaining. Yeah. There is no state. Name the state.
So there's no need to merge.
There is no state. The problem is that the states have not been creative, and the leaders have not been creative enough. Yeah. What they prefer is every end of the month they send a commissioner of finance to go every state, including my own state. We have what it takes to. If it's just the ordinary river in my place or the water in my place that we can use,
you convert it to tourism.
We generate power. We can generate power from my state. Abia State generates power. Do you know that? That there are some private companies in area market in Abia can be able to sustain Abia. Onisha market can sustain if I be to Newi. That I'm talking of Southeast now. I'm not talking of other states. Go to Kogi, which I know you know very well.
Calm down now.
Off the mic. Go to Kogi. Go and see the level of minerals we have in Kogi.
Right.
Space. Cement.
But you know some of these things are on the exclusive list.
That is what we're talking of constitutionality. That is where the governors also should come in and say, give us the liberty to be able to get something from our state instead of just living. There are so many mining ports in a Plateau state, in Zamfara state, Gombe can be able to feed Nigeria. Have you forgotten the rice this thing that Gombe had with Ezekiel Kebbi had with Lagos that we have to be shipping rice from. So no state in this. The only problem that our leaders are very lazy. They look of quick money, fast money, where they can go collect it to share, use it as security vote, put it in their pocket and their bank account, and just look at us, the citizens, that notice is coming. It's not true. Every state with this should be able to. Yes, she's also saying that I want to be my brother's keeper. Yes, I'm a twin. I have a twin brother. But I'll tell you that I'll first of all take care of my own family if the need be, before I can even look at my twin brother. If in case he asks, I can give me a little bit. Whatever I'm going to give him, he might not be able to sustain him. Absolutely. So I should be able to teach him how to fish rather than just giving him fishes. Right. And that is what we should be looking at. So any state that is crying, they will let them die. If they don't want, let us match. But no, it is high time we start telling ourselves the truth. Because you know why? Every day, the state governors will be blaming Buhari. They'll be blaming the federal government. But they themselves are not even looking inward and be able to see ways of developing their state and taking. Buhari cannot be everywhere in as much as he has his own issues. Right. But the state also, what are they? What are the governors? Are we holding our governors accountable? That is the problem.
Just to state to that, I think I will collaborate with my brother.
Finally.
On that. On
this one.
Yeah, to tell you that there is no state. No state. Even my state in Osun. Every state is blessed. Yeah. The only thing we lack is creativity by our leaders. And we give that to them. And that's why I will refer you back. If Obasanjo did not deal with Lagos State while he was the president, Lagos State would never be creative.
Exactly.
They will still be in the rank of people. Because what resources do we have? Yeah. The same way Osun is crying, the same way Oyo is crying now, the same way Gombe is crying, was the same way Lagos State was crying. But Obasanjo had it hard and said, no, you Tinubu, I will deal with you to make sure that that state is ungovernable. But what did he do? He went back and put on his thinking cap. Yeah. And today, Lagos is a template for other states.
Exactly.
The gap is there. This we must see to the letter. When they stiffen you up, it brings creativity out of your brain. Yeah. And that is what I want to solve. No states. In fact, if you decide to create more states, there is enough resources for each state to survive. But because everybody, see, how do you expect me to be creative? I wake up, my dad is blessed. And all he did is every month he gives me an allocation of $500,000. I have a very good house he has built for me. And I know that on the 30th, all I need to do is, have they credited my account?
You just see alert, get your alert.
Yes.
Pam, pam.
Why do you want me to start struggling and coming and, disturbing myself very early in the morning to go through the traffic? I will relax. But as soon as the man says, Sesan, you are now a chartered accountant. I have done my best for you. Find your way. Oh, baby. This brain will start thinking. I want a situation that the same will be applicable. All these states are self-sufficient. See, all the mineral resources we have is even, each time we try, they will say, there was a time I came with some foreigners, and they looked at the agricultural position and say, who planted all this? I say, planted. This thing grew on its own.
Yes, now.
Let me throw seeds of corn
on the floor. Yes,
and we travel and come back months later. It will germinate on it. I say, it's a lie. In Israel, when I was there, it was irrigation. There is no land to grow their farm produce. Yeah. But here, on your way from Lagos to Ibadan, enough land, enormous, for us to do agricultural produce. But how much are we maximizing it? So it is high time, if this will make the state government to think outside the box, let us do it, and we'll hold them accountable. The same thing that happened 1999-2000 with Lagos State, that gave them on the better space to now be one of the celebrity among states. Same should be applicable. All those
talking
governments
of
that
accountability, you know how we have done as a people at holding government to account. If this happens, do you see that? Because there are concerns that corruption might come to play. How do we block the loopholes? How do we hold these people to account? No, is it true?
Let me tell you, for a journey of 1,000 miles, it starts with a step.
Yeah.
We cannot get everything. Veru, hunger brings out the best in a man.
Right.
Until you are hungry, you will not know that you must survive. So now, let us, Chinua Achebe in his book, Things of Papa, he said, let us chase away the hawk that came for the chicken. Then we can talk to mother hen later. Let us chase away, let us make sure that this is sustainable and be able to move it. Then we can now start talking about leader, whether on the issue of accountability, on the issue of corruption and the rest of them. But let the state get what they are supposed to get and get more creative, because it's getting worse.
All right, let's leave it here and then. Thank you, gentlemen. Sesan Okunade, CKN, CEO CKN News. Kehinde Nwandu, thank you so much for your time.
It's my
Calm down. Your blood is hot.
They just allow the thing to come down. At least when
they pepper me.
No, is that the reason why you put on that kind of a regular?
That was Sesan off the micro.
I'm not here, please.